98 years old, Mel Brooks has reached a stage in life where he's got no filter and no reason to hold anything back. In a jaw-dropping reveal, the legendary funny man just exposed 6 stars he found the most frustrating to work with. A few are Hollywood royalty. One of them? His own wife. So who ended up on Mel's list, and what made these working relationships so chaotic? Let's peel back the curtain on the madness behind the comedy. Don't forget to drop your thoughts in the comments before we name the first one. Dom DeLuise. For someone like Mel Brooks, timing is sacred, and nobody messed with it more than Dom DeLuise. Mel had experienced a lot in the world of comedy, but he wasn't prepared for a co-star who laughed more than he acted. Dom had a habit of bursting into laughter, whether cameras were rolling or not. He didn't just chuckle. He'd fall into hysterics mid-scene, unable to finish lines without collapsing into giggles. For Mel, it was like directing an oversized toddler with a tickle switch. Shooting schedules were wrecked. Retakes piled up. Sometimes, Dom would be laughing before anyone said a word. He was uncontrollable but also irreplaceable. Because when the crew finally managed a clean take, it was pure comedy gold. As chaotic as things were, Mel never truly resented Dom. In fact, they shared a real bond. Dom fed the crew, kept the energy warm, and made everyone feel like family. Still, Mel joked that no one made him yell "cut" more often, but also no one brought the magic quite like Dom. Madeline Kahn. According to Mel Brooks, Madeline Kahn was one of the most talented artists he ever met, and also one of the most intense. She wasn't just acting, she was dissecting every moment like a scholar. From the dialogue to the props, she had an opinion about everything. She'd show up late, tweak her lines, and insist on extra takes, not because she struggled, but because she wanted it to be perfect. Mel once said working with her felt like an endless debate with a genius who wouldn't take good enough for an answer. And yet, he kept bringing her back. Why? 'Cause the results were always breathtaking. Her performances were sharp, funny, and unforgettable. Sure, Mel found her maddening in the moment. But he knew the truth. Without Madeline's creative fire, his films wouldn't have shined nearly as bright. Gene Hackman. Gene Hackman only acted in one of Mel Brooks's films, and once turned out to be plenty. His role as the blind hermit in Young Frankenstein was iconic, but behind the camera, things were less than smooth. Gene's serious, methodical approach clashed with Mel's love for chaos and spontaneity. While Mel wanted energy, noise, and wild improvisation, Hackman came in looking for structure. He craved discipline, rehearsal, and a plan. Mel hoped for looseness. Hackman stayed locked in character, dead serious. Two worked from opposite ends of the creative spectrum. Till the scene they produced is legendary. Mel later compared their teamwork to two musicians trying to jam when they're not even in the same genre. Hackman didn't return to any more Brooks films, but his brief appearance remains proof that creative tension can sometimes lead to brilliance. Cloris Leachman. Working with Cloris Leachman, according to Mel, was like being caught in a powerful windstorm. She was intense, fearless, and constantly questioning everything, from the smallest cue to the emotional direction of a scene. Cloris never raised her voice or threw tantrums. She simply refused to accept anything that didn't make sense to her. When she played Frau Blucher, she envisioned the character in a more dramatic, shadowy tone. Mel, meanwhile, was aiming for absurd humor. What followed were long, exhausting back and forths. But he couldn't argue with what made it to screen. Cloris gave every role her full weight. Mel likened the experience to being in a masterclass he never signed up for, challenging, frustrating, but undeniably enlightening. He hated how draining she could be, but he couldn't deny her performances were unforgettable. Richard Pryor. Mel Brooks always believed that Richard Pryor was meant to be the star of Blazing Saddles. He envisioned Pryor as the fearless sheriff who would shatter racial stereotypes on screen. But the studio had other ideas. They deemed Richard too unpredictable, too dangerous. Mel fought for him and lost. It left them both heartbroken. Though he didn't play the lead, Pryor still helped shape the soul of the film. He co-wrote the script and infused it with raw honesty, biting humor, and cultural insight. Mel described him as electric, one day brilliant, the next unreachable. His personal struggles with addiction and instability made him hard to manage, and the executives didn't want the risk. Still, Mel never wavered in his admiration. He always considered losing Pryor as the face of Blazing Saddles one of his biggest regrets. Yes, the chaos around Pryor was overwhelming. But that same fire ignited a movement. He didn't just contribute to the film, he defined its spirit. And Bancroft, Mel Brooks's most challenging co-star, wasn't just a colleague, she was his wife. And Bancroft, the love of his life, also happened to be his fiercest critic. When they worked together on To Be or Not to Be, Mel found himself at the center of artistic tug-of-war. And didn't care that he was her husband. On set, she treated him like any other director and challenged him constantly. She questioned instructions, edited scenes in her head, and refused to give anything less than her best. When Mel asked for more feeling in a moment, she didn't just comply, she demanded specifics. Tension wasn't toxic, it was electrifying. Crew often stood back in awe of their dynamic. Mel later joked that and didn't need words, just a glance could flatten him. But beneath every confrontation was mutual trust and respect. And wasn't trying to take over, she wanted greatness. Mel hated how much she pushed him and cherished every moment because she made him better. So, did Mel Brooks truly hate any of these actors? Not exactly. What he hated was how hard they pushed him, and how much better his work became because of it. From Dom's uncontrollable laughter to Anne's laser-sharp intensity, each of these relationships left a mark on comedy history. Even now, nearing 100, Mel remembers every delay, every challenge, every clash. And here's the kicker, one name on this list is still whispered about in Hollywood today. Which one shocked you most? Tell us in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe for more insider stories from the world behind the spotlight.